Landshark Stadium, home of the Fish, the Marlins and the Orioles getting ready for game 2. Here come the Baltimore Orioles. The Fish knocked them 6 under with the win last night by the Marlins. Brian Roberts leads it off. Felix P.A. is in center field. Nick Markakis in right. Aubrey Huff hits cleanup. Melvin Mora is in third.
Continued on in that game. He was throwing that well. 5 innings, gave up just 1 hit run, no walks, and 5 strikeouts to good hitting lineup, the Boston Red Sox.
That was against John Lester. The Marlins hit a couple solo shots against Lester. Roberts goes after the first pitch and sends it into center field. Over for it is Cody Ross. Brian Roberts is a good player. You watch him. Just in a 3-game series, you can tell. I mean, it would be something to watch him for 162 games.
And again, that's the to me the fun part about interleague play. We get to see players like a Marco Scutaro that you don't know a whole lot about. We've heard a lot about Brian Roberts. Don't get to see him all that much. But yeah, he's a solid little player, switch hitter, and hits the ball equally as well from both sides of the plate.
So Roberts is a stolen base threat, and that's been an issue with the Fish, stopping the stolen base. Nolasco, quick throw over. Roberts has 15 bags this year. He swiped 40 last year. Felix P.A., at one time one of the top prospects for the Chicago Cubs. P.A. acquired from the Cubs in the offseason, and he takes that fastball inside from Nolasco. P.A. no doubt well known to Andy MacPhail, who was the president of baseball operations / general manager for the Orioles. Was a part of the Cubs organization for a while. Roberts, not a big lead.
P.A. is one of those intriguing players. He has talent. Certainly his minor league numbers show that. Right about 300 is career average in the minor leagues. The opportunities that he's gotten at the major league level, some of those with the Cubs, he just hasn't performed the way everybody thought he would.
It's a ground ball. It's going to end up in right field. Roberts will stop at second. And the Orioles have opened up with 2 base hits against Nolasco.
See how the defense looks tonight for the Fish. There's Chris Coughlin and Cody Ross and Jeremy Hermida in the outfield. Bonifacio and Cantu at the corners. Double play combo. A lot of nice double plays last night. Hanley and Ugla. And John Baker is behind the plate.
And Nick Markakis is about to stand in at the plate. Markakis, 25, one of the bright young stars on this Oriole team. A 1-for-4 night last night. Very good year last year. This is his 4th year in the big leagues.
This
and
lineup
he takes outside.
This lineup, Rich, a good challenge for a right-handed pitcher. You have the switch hitting Roberts. P.A. hits from the left side. Markakis a lefty, and then Aubrey Huff a lefty.
Roberts got a running lead, and he's on his way. Baker's throw is behind the runner, and they're going to get P.A. at second.
Nice job by John Baker. Boy, that's a quick decision a catcher has to make. He saw that Roberts got that walking lead and a great jump from second, but he also saw that P.A. did not. So P.A. tried to follow, but he didn't get a good jump. Bake picked it up and made a good throw.
You know what's amazing? As fast as P.A. is, watching that last replay, Cantu was not holding him at first base. He should have had a much bigger lead and a much bigger jump than that.
That's why you always tell youngsters to, when there's runners at first and second and the first baseman's not holding you, get as big a lead as you can.
Two-0 pitch is a strike.
So that's no stolen base for Brian Roberts. It's just a reaching third on a fielder's choice. even though he clearly had it stolen.
Yeah. I think that rule could use a tweaking in that case. Breaking ball, ground ball, foul. Hey, last night was Tuesday, and we had the big auction. We raised a ton of money, over $82,000. Tonight, we're doing emails, so it's Email Wednesday tonight. I know it's not Tuesday, but we're going to give it a shot. So email us your questions, ask.themarlins@fox.com, ask.themarlins@fox.com. We'll get to as many as we can. We've already got a few flooding our email box down in our production truck. Here's the 2-2. Got him. Big strikeout. Nolasco punches out Markakis.
Nice job. A strikeout needed by Ricky, and he went upstairs with a good fastball to get Markakis to chase it. It had a little extra on it, and that's just a good pitch.
That's going to bring up Aubrey Huff. Huff last night was 0 for 5. The former Hurricane star.
Aubrey Huff right now is saying, don't hit it to Ugla. He hit 2 shots out towards second base last night, and Dan Ugla robbed him twice.
There were great defensive plays all around for the Fish last night. Bonifacio at third, Ugla at second. Change up by Nolasco, a strike. It's 1-1. Brett Carroll in right field made a running catch and then made a Brett Carroll-esque play going towards the line on the Ty Wigington base hit, and then spinning around and throwing Wigington out by about 10 feet at second. It was a key play.
Yeah, because if Brett Carroll does not throw Wigington out at second base, if Wigington stays at first base, the runner's at first and third and 1 out. That makes a huge difference. This was the second out of the inning on this perfect throw and just great footwork by Brett Carroll. And Wigington, I think at that point, realized he made a mistake in testing the gun of Carroll's.
Let's see if Nolasco can get Huff and keep Roberts at third. That one is fouled off. All right, let's dive into the email bag. Frank from Vero Beach throws out the first email. What's the latest on Alfredo Amezaga's rehab? Is he expected to return this year? I would say yes, he's expected to return this year, but certainly not this month.
Yeah, it's slow. It's a slow process. And Frank up in Vero, hope the AC's working. So where they had 100-degree temperatures a couple of days ago, highest ever in Vero Beach.
Big hook, but not far enough to catch the corner of the plate.
Yeah, might have just come around and missed the outside corner.
Chad Fairchild calling balls and strikes. Let's see if he does it again. 2-2. A little bit of a slider there. I was interesting listening to Nolasco in an interview this week talk about what he learned in the minor leagues. Remember when he came back up, he said, I'm not really doing anything different. And this week he talked about he felt like his first stint in the big leagues this year, he was working too quickly. He was getting in a hurry. Couldn't find his rhythm. Ground ball, one hop. Bonifacio across the diamond in time, and Nolasco pitches out of trouble. Emails, lots of emails when we get back.
see.
Here come the fish. Marlins look this way. Chris Coughlin in left field. Emilio Bonifacio's at third. Hanley's in the 3 spot. Cantu right behind him. Jeremy Hermida hitting 5th. Dan Ugla homering last night. He's at 2nd. Cody Ross in center. Bakes behind the plate. And Nolasco is in the 9 spot.
Well, the Marlins will get a look at the 25-year-old right-hander out of Clemson, Jason Birkin. Won his major league debut against the Blue Jays back on May 26th. So this just start number 6 for Birkin. Pretty general with his selection of pitches, nothing fancy. Fastball, pretty good slider.
Coughlin settles in and he takes a fastball. He's kind of built like a Greg Maddux. He's not real tall. He's 6 feet. Obviously, if he could pitch like that, the Orioles would be pretty pleased. He's very athletic. In high school, Birkin was a guy that was a star quarterback. He was a star on the basketball team and obviously on the baseball team, and he ended up at Clemson University.
Yeah, when you read that about a young guy, a pitcher, you know a couple of things, that he's probably a pretty good battler out there, and that seems to be the story on it. He knows how to pitch, goes right after hitters.
And he misses down low.
And right now can't find the strike zone. Another good job by Chris Coughlin. See how the Orioles set up defensively tonight. There's Luke Scott, Felix Piet, and Nick Markakis in the outfield. Melvin Moore, Robert Andino, Brian Roberts, and Aubrey Huff around the infield. And Matt Wieters, the good-looking young catcher.
Bonifacio now with Melvin Moore creeping up at third base. And he takes a strike. Bonifacio 1 for 5 last night. And of course it was his mad dash around third in front of the Luke Scott throw that got him under the tag of Greg Zahn. Although Zahn never really cleanly caught the ball, Bonifacio scored. And the Marlins had their walk-off win. Freddie Gonzalez, some bad news today with the injury to Matt Lindstrom. Lindstrom's elbow has been bothering him for the last 2-3 weeks. The MRI showed a sprain, so no throwing for 3 to 4 weeks, which means Lindstrom will be out for at least a month. And the Marlins are going to have to find an answer at the back of their bullpen.
And this is why Freddie would love to see Ricky and Nolasco go deep into this game. Yeah, I talked a little bit with Matt before the game, and he said that elbow has been bothering more so on the slider than on his fastball. Chris LaRoe will be up and was throwing the ball pretty well in Jacksonville. We saw him briefly.
And with Leo Nunez ankle tender, he's not available tonight either. So you take Lindstrom and Nunez out of the equation.
So you have LaRue and you have Tim Wood, a couple of untested quantities down there.
Oh, Coughlin almost got caught.
So what it boils down to is Brian Sanchez, Reniel Pinto, and Dan Meyer.
And one of the things Gonzalez addressed before the ballgame was that he's going to have to throw LaRue and Wood in there and not even blink, because if you just depend on the other guys, you're going to wear them out.
I think we're seeing a little of the athleticism of Jason Birkin with his quick move. He does have a quick move to first base.
Bonifacio slices one into the seats. One of our email questions tonight. Now that Lindstrom is on the disabled list, are the Marlins in the market for a closer such as Houston Street or Jose Valverde?
I think the Marlins are always in the market for another arm in the bullpen.
Runner goes. Mora across the diamond. Whoa! Safe! Ball gets loose. Coghlan to third, halfway home, and he'll stop there. Wow.
I think with 2 out, Bo Porter would have sent Chris Coghlan. But the fact that there is nobody out, he's got Hanley Ramirez or a Cantu coming up. He got way down the line to put the stop sign on Chris Coghlan. The throw, kind of a lackadaisical one by Mora. It pulls Huff off the bag, and he can't catch it. It's off the end of his glove and then hits Bonifacio. That takes it a little bit further on down, so it'll be an error charged to Melvin Mora.
That's one of those tweeners for a first baseman, too, isn't it? You're not sure whether to try to stay on the bag or to come off and catch and tag. Hanley now, and he goes around. It's 0-1. So the Marlins have something going here. Second and third, Hanley delivered in a big way last night with a grand slam.
And the infield's back, so if he can get a ground ball out there, the Marlins can take an early lead.
Didn't swing on that one, and it's 1-1. This was liftoff.
Yeah, he did swing on that one. No question about it.
It's been a rough week for Danny Baez. He gave up the big home run to Ryan Howard in the Phillies.
So a bullpen generally that's done a pretty good job over the last few weeks for Dave Tremblay. Did not get it done last night.
A little later on, we're going to look at some of Hanley's homers and find out where they've landed, where they've ended up. Runners in scoring position, you can see Hanley atop the National League list.
This is an area a lot of people question when he was put in that number 3 spot, because he had struggles in the past.
Fastball, line drive, base hit, right center. Boy, Bonifacio may catch Coghlan. He's right behind him, and they both score.
What a great example. I'm telling you, Jim Presley may like that swing and base hit more than the grand slam, because Hanley had 2 strikes on him. It's not a bad pitch. It runs inside. Hanley stays inside the ball and just gets it over the head of Roberts. Drives in 2 runs with a single. That's a thing of beauty. Coghlan wanted to make sure it dropped. Bonifacio just got a great jump from second.
And here is Cantu, who was a hero last night when he drove home Bonifacio. Cantu on the postgame show talking about his at-bat, saying in that situation he was looking off speed. He wasn't looking for a ball he could hit out of the park. He was looking breaking ball, got it, and he just flipped it into left for the game winner. He flips that one into left field for a base hit. Hanley around second, stops. Scott up with the ball. So the error after the walk, and then 2 hits, and the Fish are in business. Miccosukee brings you our weather. What is he looking at? 82 degrees. He's looking at blue skies and no rain.
He's looking at 2 runs and 2 men on and nobody out.
So here is Hermida. Jeremy takes a fastball that's up. Hermida 0 for 4 last night. Scuffled a bit as of late.
I think a good example of how the offense has been lately.
Ground ball out to short. Andino, a flip there. Roberts' turn in time. And the Orioles get 2. Hanley's at third.
What I was trying to make is, yeah, Jeremy struggled, but others have picked him up. And it's almost like you don't notice it at times. if he were struggling and 2 or 3 others were struggling, it'd be very noticeable. And when you struggle, you hit that ground ball and the double play is turned.
So here is Uggla. Dan is a 2-time All-Star, and that brings us to another email question from Thomas, who was a student at Pompano Beach High School. Obviously, Hanley deserves a spot on the All-Star team. Who else on the Marlins should make the All-Star team? I think Josh Johnson is the leader in the clubhouse.
Without question. And the more you talk to other players, I was telling you before the game, and he's one of our favorites, Ty Wigginton. I was talking to him about different players and pitchers. And even Wigginton said, you know, we haven't seen him this year, but boy, have we heard about him. So word is getting out about Josh Johnson.
And with another couple solid starts, you would expect he would be in line to make that team. Uggla got a good-looking fastball, and he's angry at himself for missing it.
Well, if he does, he can maybe sit alongside Tim Lincecum. He'll probably be there. Lincecum, another complete game last night in Oakland. He's 7-2 with a 2.57 ERA.
2-1 pitch. Breaking ball is a strike. Pat in Jacksonville. I've seen a few long at bats recently, and I was wondering what's the most pitches ever fouled off during a single at bat. Didn't Alex Cora have a really long at bat?
Yeah, a few years ago when he was with the Dodgers.
We'll have to research that. Our crack staff needs something to do tonight. Uggla not happy. Out on the check swing. Birkin finishes the inning, but the Marlins get 2 thanks to that man. Oh, he told me.
They had a couple of those last night during the auction.
We should have. All the food and all the Tommy Bahama rum, though, was down with Craig for some reason. Probably a wise decision. Hanley Ramirez with a 2-run single. Melvin Mora leads it off with Luke Scott and Matt Wieters right behind him. The Fish on top 2-0. Marlins trying to climb over the 500 mark. And Velasco misses outside to the Orioles' third baseman. He's been a fixture for the Orioles for some time now. Mora, 35, Venezuelan, in the last year of his contract. Bonifacio cuts it off. It's a good play. And there's 1 out. Next Family Sunday is July 5th. The Marlins and the Pirates. It's a 1:10 start. First 5,000 fans get a Marlins mini helmet radio. Now those are cool. It's courtesy of Geico. and kids can run the bases in the Diamond Dash. We need to get a picture of the mini helmet radio, courtesy of Geico. Or we need to get one of those up here so that we can listen. Well, maybe we just listen between innings. But I saw a picture of, it's like a little mini helmet. You flip it over and the radio's underneath.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if you're at the game and you're not at home watching us, if you're at the game, you can flip that thing and listen to Dave and Glenn.
Or if you're a youngster and you have to go to bed at night and the game's still going,
can you sneak it under your pillow?
Absolutely. That's where I was going with that. 0-1 pitch. Popped up, and it's Baker, and he makes the catch. By the way, our crack staff has discovered that Alex Cora had an 18-pitch at bat against the Cubs, and that was against Matt Clement, the former Marlin pitcher, who is now a high school basketball coach.
High school basketball coach in Butler, Pennsylvania, where he went to high school. And that's nice when you see a former professional athlete go back into the amateur level, so he's going to coach basketball.
The kicker was that Cora fouled off 14 straight pitches before finally hitting a home run. Now the note here says it's the third longest documented at bat since baseball statisticians began keeping track of pitch counts in the mid-'80s. So we've got to run down numbers 1 and 2 still. For a breaking ball and a strike to Wieters. Of course, Cora's older brother is Joey Cora, and he joked that he and Ozzie Guillen, they're on that same staff in Chicago, were watching the game at a restaurant, ordering their first beer during the first pitch, and by the time the homer left the yard, they'd already had 4 beers and were calling a cab to take them home. Wieters pulls it foul. Dennis in Miami is a bit confused. See that the Marlins have brought up Chris LaRue from Double-A to replace Lindstrom on the roster. Why is a Double-A pitcher brought up as opposed to bringing up a Triple-A pitcher? If he's good enough to pitch in the majors, why wasn't he in Triple-A?
Well, that's not always the case, though. All the prospects aren't always at Triple-A, and we'll get into that a little bit more next inning.
Wieters goes down. 1-2-3. Goes Nolasco. 2-0. Marlins. Fox Sports Florida Fantasy Auction presented by Tommy Bahama. And everybody got in on the act. We had the big board, we had the little boards, we had the pledge packs, and we had a lot of fun. Now, the big board raised over $62,000. Those are what those packages went for. We doubled, actually, the road trip to New York, which was outstanding. The little board, play ball experience, Cantu's hitting lesson, Cody Ross jersey, play catch with Bake. Craig is swimming with the Dolphins and the Mermaids. And then you add the pledge packs, and we sold 100 of those pledge packs, thanks in part to the man at the plate. Cody Ross autographed 100 baseballs and was kind enough to do our pledge pack commercial for us.
And has agreed to autograph some more for more pledge packs.
Yes. And we know that at times in this ballpark, Marlin fans are not great in numbers. But as we've always maintained, Marlin fans are great in spirit and in heart, and spread out all over the country, because we had people buying pledge packs from all over the place last night, up and in. Cody limbos out of the way of that 0-2 pitch. Lansing, Michigan, Delaware, San Jose, New Jersey, Boston, and a certain someone in Albuquerque bought 2. That would be Cody's dad. Breaking ball. And he pops it up to Roberts. But $82,000 was raised in total.
I know you feel the same way I do. Just our thanks to everybody who participated. Just fantastic last night.
Here's Bake now. And Birkin misses down low. Stacy from Wellington, part of the Fish Stripes Nation. They had actually were bidding on an item last night. Wants to know what the update is on Kiko. Is he rehabbing with the team? She misses him. And last we've heard, Kiko Calero's rehab is going well. And I think it's a little over a week before he's due off the disabled list. He had a throw session today. I think the Marlins are hopeful that he will return soon. Baker lobs it down the line, and he'll settle for a single. Markakis got there quickly.
Yeah, Markakis also has 7 assists. Pretty good arm, too, out there in right field.
Baseball's biggest stars go head-to-head. One spectacular night in the summer's biggest event as Fox brings you every moment of the 2009 Major League Baseball All-Star Game, Tuesday the 14th of July from St. Louis.
We have to get back quickly to the question about bringing up a player or pitcher from AA or AAA. It used to be different, I will agree. Most of your prospects were in AAA, and they worked their way from A ball to AA. It's a little different. Every organization now puts a lot of their young prospects in AA. A lot of it depends on where that city might be. But Chris LaRue also is on a pretty good run. His last 8 outings, he had not allowed a run. So he's throwing the ball well, and you look into things like that, too.
So the level of competition between AA and AAA is
not that different
pretty
anymore.
Slight. Velasco drops it down. Huff will pick it up, and he'll flip on over to first. Nice job by Ricky. Gives Coughlin an at-bat with a runner in scoring position. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins.
You know what? So many times we see hitters try to bunt, and they make it look difficult at times. Ricky Nolasco made that look very easy. He had the bat in the right spot, made the first baseman come in and field it, and got the job done.
Coughlin takes down low. Oren from Scotland. Love watching you guys via my sling box in South Florida. I'm out in Scotland playing golf. Love Tommy's golf references. What is his handicap? Which Marlin is the best golfer?
You know, I know JJ, Sean West, I think, plays a little. Got so many young guys. I'll lay it out there. I'm a 12 handicap, so nothing spectacular, but can move it around a little bit. Would love to someday play in Scotland.
Yeah, I think this is not the Atlanta Braves of old, where you've got everybody playing golf during road trips. This is not a golfing team.
No.
Coughlin takes a strike. 2-2. Remy from Fort Lauderdale wants to know, will the Marlins be wearing throwback jerseys this year? Not that I know of, but we'll check. Coughlin out to short. That would be a familiar face of Robert Andino. And he throws out Chris. Marlins leave a runner and lead at 2-0. In People Magazine's All-Stars Among Us through June 24th. You could vote for one by going to foxsports.com. Click on the link for All-Stars Among Us. The winner will be honored at the All-Star Game on the 14th on Fox. 2-0. You feeling okay? I've for a second there, I was getting the shakes.
I was. A little RoboCam got the shakes, I think.
I think all of us are a little wobbly after last night. Here's Robert Andino. One of the frustrating things about last night, Tommy, we didn't get a chance to talk much about Robert Andino. And it's great to see him get a chance to play. Pops that one back into the seats.
Well, in spring training, the Orioles had, of course, Cesar Asturias, their regular shortstop, and Chris Gomez, a veteran. Gomez did not play well, and of course the trade was made right at the end, sending Robert to Baltimore for Hayden Penn. And after that was made, Gomez went his way, and all of a sudden now with Asturias on the disabled list, Robert's got an opportunity, and he's made the most of it. He's done a nice job.
Andino, of course, Southridge High School. Same alma mater as Freddie. High chopper is foul. We have an email that's asking, that's going to put our crack staff to work. In particular, Scott Hopkins. Last week at Fenway, you guys did a nice job of showing all the quirks of the park, but you missed one. Did you guys notice the dots and dashes on the green monster? Does your Red Sox guy know the difference or the significance of those dots and dashes? He's working on it.
Where are those dots and dashes?
They're in the on the scoreboard.
On the scoreboard.
In left field. And this is Paul from Plantation. Having been in the American League, I know the significance of it. But Paul writes, it's in Morse code, and it spells out Tom and Marie for former longtime owners Tom and Marie Yawkey. Andino to Hamlin.
Red Sox guy's writing it down right now.
Let's check in with Craig. Craig?
Guys, terrific national anthem, but many sports viewers may know Roy Firestone, my guest, a Miami guy.
Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
Most of my life from Miami.
Great.
In fact, I was bat boy for the Orioles, and I used to go to the Marlins when they were the Miami Marlins at the old Bobby Maduro Stadium.
Maduro. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Great cabaret act. I remember after the '97 series, Roy did an act for the Marlins organization, and you're back here. Yeah. You're doing a little bit of everything. You got a book coming out?
I got a brand new book out. It's called Don't Make Me Cry, Roy, as we watch a foul ball here. And you can get it on royfirestone.com. So if you want me to give you the plug, I did.
Absolutely, there it is. Roy, it's good to see you. Did you, growing up here, did you dream? Because I know it was sad when spring training left.
Oh, yeah.
That was it?
Well, you hit it right. It was like the circus coming to town and then the circus leaving. Well, now the circus is here all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we never had Major League Baseball. We didn't have professional football for a long time there, too. Forget hockey and basketball. Right. So it was always great to see exhibition baseball, and the Marlins were all we had. And the double-A, single-A, Baby O's, people might remember the Baby O's. And so actually, in a strange way, these are two teams intersecting. Yeah. The Marlins and the Orioles, they were together once.
That's right. You're right. Now, these days you do the cabaret act, you do motivational speaking?
I do corporate speaking, about 100, depending upon a year, up to 100 a year. I go all over the country, still working on possibly want to do a sports talk show again for TV. And, we love the life, and we did the show here. We did the national anthem and God Bless America here Sunday for the Yankee crowd. It's a smaller crowd tonight, but the people here are ardent fans. And I love doing it. I love coming back to Miami and doing it.
I used to like your character, Biff Barnes, everybody.
A baseball announcer who always sounds like this. Don't forget Thursday night is hard liquor and handgun night here at the ballpark. Don't forget that.
That's a good night.
Hard liquor and handgun. They always have the R.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they do, Roy.
That's exactly right. But baseball, of course, they always have the deep thing on the bottom of the. I love when I hear some great voices like Dave Van Horn. Dave Van Horn. He's got that great name. He's got a great broadcasting name, too.
Hey, good to see you. And we got the website again, Roy.
Firestone.com if anyone wants to go on. And by the way, anyone who buys the book, we donate to United Way.
Good stuff. Nice.
Nice to
Thanks,
see you.
Roy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Guys, back to you there, Biff.
Very talented.
Very talented. And I do remember '97. He put on a great show in the celebration party. And talented guy, Roy Firestone. Known him for a long time.
I don't talk like that, do I?
No.
Okay. Just bad. Here's the one old Tally. Brian Roberts. Roberts turns on one, and he nearly took his first base coach with him there. It's John Shelby, one of the former Orioles down there at first.
A couple of pretty good players on the coaching lines for the Orioles. John Shelby, Juan Samuel, coaches third for Baltimore.
Roberts a single in the first. We have an answer to Remy's question. There will be no throwback jerseys this year, but the Marlins will wear special jerseys on Hispanic Heritage Weekend on September 12th. They will be Los Marlins. I don't know that Biff Barnes could say that quite that way. But September 12th, Remy, put it on your schedule.
Most of the impressionists that imitate broadcasters take broadcasters out of the Midwest. It's usually someone out of the Midwest.
Ugla, nice running catch. And Ricky Nolasco has really settled in. He has retired 8 straight. home runs. And a funny thing happened when our tape room got to work. Steve Cardamone said, guys, let's cue those up. These are the 2 home runs. And look where they landed. Now watch this. One there. One there. What are the odds?
Absolutely amazing. The same tunnel.
Absolute same spot.
Only one was a grand slam. That was nice.
Bonifacio sends that into center field. PA makes the catch. So an out. Here comes Hanley. Cantu is right behind him. Gary in Boynton Beach joins the email parade. Wants to know if there ever been any leadoff hitters that have driven in 100 runs. Ricky Henderson ever driving 100?
The first name that came to my mind was Bobby Bonds.
How about Brian Downing?
I'm sure there have been. Yeah, I don't think that would be something that has never been done. It's hard to tell, though, because you would have to see if the guy hit leadoff all year.
Boy, that's smoked so hard that it flies all the way out to PA.
That was hit much harder than the base hit Hanley got to drive in 2 runs. So 2 terrific swings tonight from Hanley. And that ball stung the center fielder, PA.
Hanley is such a great player and is on television most nights during baseball season. Why does he not clean his helmet or replace it? Is it a good luck charm for him to keep it so dirty?
Well, it's kind of like Kevin Millar's helmet. Been a few guys over the years that don't like to get the pine tar off the helmet, like to keep it there, because the helmets are clean if you so desire.
Oh yeah, that's what the clubhouse.
But if you say don't touch,
guys,
no touch.
There are clubhouse attendants that after every game are cleaning shoes, helmets. Hey, you know, it works.
Look at the pat on the leg by Uggs. He knows what that feels like when you hit a line drive right at somebody.
0-2 is up. Saw a good note on that pair. Hanley and Ugla both homering last night. 14th time that they've done it in their careers together. And in that span, that leads all second basemen and shortstops. Utley and Rollins have done it 11 times in that span. That's pretty cool.
Well, Dan Ugla just continues to put together numbers, power numbers, more home runs over the last 3 years than any second baseman ever.
And of course, Hanley's Hanley now, 42 RBIs. The RBI lead for the Marlins is kind of jumbled up, even though Cantu's got 45. Ugla's right behind at 43. And Hanley's a close third at 42. Cody Ross got 41.
So you very easily could see 4 players get into that 80-90 zone and maybe more.
Cantu drives that ball right center field. PA will handle all 3 in this inning. Going to the 4th, 2-0. Single is standing up right now, and the Duck hopefully is standing up. Yes, he is. 71 Orioles, 4 20-game winners. Who are they? That's baseball lore. That starting rotation in 71. World champions, not in 71. 1970 world champs. 71 lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates, right?
Yeah, that's one of those questions that during the course of the season, just about every broadcaster around both leagues will mention those 4 names when they start talking about 20-game winners and how rare that's starting to become.
A couple of guys in that rotation won Cy Youngs in their history. One of them is Jim Palmer. Palmer won 3.
Yeah, and he does probably 75, 80 telecasts for the Orioles. He's not in town for this series.
I believe Mike Cuellar won a Cy Young as well. He was in that rotation. So we'll give you those 2.
Okay, just those 2.
Palmer and Cuellar. The Earl Weaver Orioles. What a great team they had. Line shot left field. Coming on, Coughlin! Did not catch it. Made a nice try, but couldn't quite squeeze it.
Yeah, I think it popped out right there. He never really got the handle on it. And good effort. Didn't come up with it. Speaking of Mike Cuellar, usually see Mike Cuellar every year at Jeff Conine's golf tournament for the Joe DiMaggio's Children's Hospital. Cuellar usually is there playing.
That is one of the marquee events in the offseason. So PA is aboard, and now Markakis. Ricky struck him out back in the first. Niners golf tournament right around spring training time, so you'll have some major league players, some stars of yesteryear.
It is a great event and for a great charity too.
Markakis lashes it foul. Niner will be with us on Marlins Live after the ball game. And he was a Baltimore Oriole as well.
Yeah, saw Jeff Conine talking to a number of the Oriole players and also some of their staff. Terry Crowley, their hitting instructor. He was talking to Crow.
Big Niner, little Niner.
You know, Jeremy Hermida was telling me that when he was on some teams with Markakis, kind of up in the Atlanta area, he said Markakis was a late bloomer. He was not one of the better players. At times, he didn't even play.
Nolasco gets him for the 2nd time tonight.
Different pitches, too. Remember, he went up the ladder with a high fastball. That time got him with a breaking ball.
Fish Fridays on the 3rd. The Marlins will take on the Pirates at 6:10. Grab a CBS 4 for 54 pack and play Billy Bingo for your chance to win an authentic batting helmet autographed by Jorge Cantu. 1-877-Marlins. Here is Aubrey Huff. Ground ball. Ugla got one. Hanley had to spin around and still gets him. And Hanley and Ugla embrace out there behind second base. Not the best of feeds, but Hanley picks his buddy up. Hey, South Florida, when you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 1-877-MAROONY. By Checkers, a little place, big taste. By Corona, official sponsor of the timeout, and by Largo Honda. Still no Sharks. Wrap that up. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, John Sulser, our producer, Jim Hawley, household name director, Ken Lee, our graphics coordinator.
Tim Mason, one of our cameramen, with a night. How do you get the night off?
He was working one of the handhelds last night at the auction.
Yeah,
so
he worked a lot.
Absolutely. He was on his feet all night. Here is Hermida. Jeremy takes a strike. You were talking about Markakis on those East Cobb teams, and of course just a program thick with Major League talent. Matt Capps, I believe, was from that area, and of course McCann and Francoeur.
And the thing that reminded me when Jeremy was talking about Markakis not being the best player on that team, something I always used to tell my sons. So, you don't have to be the best on your little league team. You don't have to be the best on your middle league or whatever league, youth league, or your high school. It's how you progress, and you keep getting better. You keep trying to get better every year. And I think sometimes, and a lot of it comes from coaching, sometimes the youth teams, the kids always want to be the best, and they feel that, but then it's hard to get better. So it's a matter of progression. And you always want to try to improve.
Herb's just looking for a knock right now.
Yeah, he's had a struggle lately.
Reaches out, sends that one to left field, hits it pretty well, and a running catch up against the wall. Luke Scott. When you're 0 for 23 and you hit a ball pretty well in the gap, it usually gets caught. All right, we gave you Palmer and Cuellar. The Duck. Can we have a Pat McNally, or no, a
Dave McNally.
Dave McNally and Pat Dobson.
Pat Dobson, I think, is the one people don't get. But look at that, all 20 game winners. Of course, a 4-man rotation. They were pitching a lot. They probably all had over 35 starts.
When does the Hall of Fame start adjusting for that?
I think
the fact that modern day pitchers don't get as many opportunities at wins as the guys that came before them. And of course, from the mid-70s on, pitching seems to have become a lot more difficult, whether it's from steroids, smaller ballparks, smaller strike zones. Ugla takes inside.
Yeah, I definitely think, over the years, the 300 win mark was always the watermark, but I think that will have to change. That'll have to come down.
So like a guy like Andy Pettitte, who could end up at 260, 270, is that the modern day 300?
That'd take him a while to get to that. Mike Messina is the one that comes to mind. I think he's at 270 right now, and he's retired.
A guy like Moyer, who's closing in on what, 260?
Because here's the interesting thing. Now you let's say you do bring that down a little bit. Now, what do you do with the Bly-Levins and Jim Cotts and Tommy Johns?
They should be in. The first
they should
two,
be in anyway.
The first two that you mentioned should be in, no question about it. I think Tommy John should be in simply for all the surgeries he's had to perform.
There are a number of reasons Tommy John should be in, yeah, and that is one of them. the fact that what he did to have that surgery, which had never been done before, and then came back and had the career that he did and still won over 280 games. So Tommy John, just the fact that there's a surgery that's changed pitching all around. I mean, Jason Burkin, who's pitching tonight for Baltimore, he had the surgery at Clemson in college.
Right.
And just for that he should be in. Plus he was a good pitcher.
Yeah, and Jim Cott and Bert Blyleven, to me, should be in, especially when you start parsing through some of the guys that are approaching that spot. When you look at the Pettitts or the Moyers, or as you said, the Musinas. Cody Ross tags that one down the line. It's a fair ball. Racing around second is Ugla. Into the corner it goes. Ugla's being waved. Round 30 comes. Throw to the plate. He's in there. Terrific stuff all around. Bo Porter never wavered. Ugla never hesitated, and he just got in under the tag. RBI double by Ross.
Everything worked perfectly there, starting with the base hit of Cody Ross to get it into the corner and down the left field line. That started the whole process, a good swing. Then you watch Dan Ugla, who ran the bases extremely well. Took a good turn at second, good turn at third. He watched his third base coach, Bo Porter, down the line. It was a good relay throw. Very good relay throw, but just beating the throw was Dan Ugla.
Now Baker trying to pick up this run. The other thing, too, from our vantage point, we can't see the corner. So on that replay, that was our first look at Scott, and I expected in the replay to see him bobble or kick it a little bit, but he picked it cleanly.
That was a play that the Orioles couldn't do any better because the Marlins did everything just right as well.
Here's Ugla.
He sees it. Good turn, hits the corner of the bag, takes a peek, picks up his coach, and a good slide to boot. Just past the sweeping tag of Wieters. Oh, and the other good thing about that, on the throw, Cody Ross went to third base.
Which brings the infield in for Baker, and one out. Jason Birkin working against Baker, who singled back in the second. Ooh, pretty good pitch. That would be one that Baker would want for his pitcher.
You wonder if he'll see much to hit. This is where a number 8 hitter sometimes maybe has to think backwards and maybe guess breaking ball, maybe go out of the strike zone a little bit. As he did. Just trying to pick up the run knowing that Ricky Nolasco's on deck. But generally, John Baker doesn't swing at that pitch.
He is such a disciplined hitter.
Yeah, he doesn't swing it. So
this is out of his character almost.
That's right, but it showed that he's thinking at the plate.
He has such a great knowledge of the strike zone.
With 2 strikes, you don't necessarily have to do that. Oh, and he was thinking backwards. The last thing he was thinking was fastball right down the middle.
Yes, you're right. He was thinking he's going to be cute. He's going to try to get me to chase something.
Yeah. So then managers will give you that line, that's what you get for thinking.
Well, Nolasco can drive in a run. He's not a bad hitter. Ricky has 2 RBIs this season. But Birkin ran that fastball in on his hands. Went around and it's 0-2. Pitch. Down low. Matt in Seattle and Rachel in Palm Beach Gardens want to know, what do you think of this trade? Adrian Beltre and David Ardsma from Seattle for Vandenherk or Tucker. Nolasco swings and misses. We'll toss that around when we get back. Marlins pick up a run. Cody Ross drives it in.
All right.
Marlins on top 3-0 in the 5th. The Marlins and the Orioles will finish the series tomorrow night, and it will be a battle of lefties. Rich Hill for the Orioles, and this guy will go for the Fish, Sean West, who joins us now from the bullpen. Hi, Sean. How are you?
Mic check. How are you?
Yeah.
Good, good.
Hey, I get a quick question before Ricky gets underway, Sean. Aren't you charting?
I am. Mr. Volstad took over for me this inning.
Which brings about I've always wanted to ask a pitcher. Is it easier if you're charting a game, let's say, with Andrew Miller pitching, another left-hander, as opposed to Ricky Nolasco, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Just kind of pay attention to the radar gun. It kind of tells you what's coming.
What does it do for you tomorrow night? I mean, how does that translate, charting tonight's game for you tomorrow night against the Orioles?
You try to pay attention to hitters' tendencies, whether they like the ball in or out, and just stuff like that.
Melvin Mora stands in. Mora is 0 for 1. Nolasco, a breaking ball in the dirt.
And now, do you owe Volstad because he's doing this for you?
I do. I will. I'll pay him back one of these days.
Shreveport, Louisiana. You were born in Houston and moved to Shreveport, didn't you?
Yeah, born in Houston, lived there for about 8 years or so, and lived in Shreveport since.
Ground ball. Bonifacio has it, spins, fires, and Mora is safe. That's a difficult play. That's going to be a base hit for Melvin Mora. And so your first Major League game was probably an Astros game, I would expect?
Yeah, I've only been to a few, like 2 Astros games and 1 Florida game.
So you'd only been to a couple big league games before you played in a big league game, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I know it sounds bad, but I really didn't watch baseball until I got drafted.
What was your sport?
Oh, I've played baseball since I was 4 years old. I haven't played any other sport.
You just didn't watch?
Well,
just didn't watch it. It's kind of boring.
But from reading up on your history, music was big, right?
Music, yeah, that took up most of my time. I actually almost quit baseball in high school to pursue music.
Yeah, there's a great story about your dad talking you back into the sport and talking you out of giving up not only school but also baseball. Tell me about that conversation. How did that go?
It didn't go over too well because my dad, he saw the talent, the God-given talent that was in me, and I kind of took advantage of that a lot throughout high school, and just got a hold of the drums one day and kind of went from there. And my dad, I came home one day and told my dad I was going to quit, and it didn't settle too well with him. So that was the end of that.
And you've got some brothers that are good players as well. Tell us about them.
Yeah, my brother Lance, he is in short season A-ball with the Orioles actually in Aberdeen, and he got drafted last year out of a junior college in Shreveport. So he's looking to have a pretty good season.
What position does he play?
He's a corner guy, left field, right field. Pretty big guy, 6'3", about 230.
Righty, lefty?
Righty, just hits for power.
Can you get him out in the off season when you pitch to him?
Absolutely. I'm still older brother.
All right, and you got a younger brother who's a pitcher, is that right?
Yeah, he's 15, or no, just turned 16, and he's about 6'5", lefty. So.
Wow.
Who's got the height in the family, mom or dad?
Mom's 5'10", dad's about 6'3"ish. Not too sure where it came from. I got tall siblings, not tall siblings, tall cousins, and I don't know. So.
Now, as Matt Wieters fouls it off, the drums, music, how does that help you in pitching? Does it at all?
Absolutely. There's definitely a rhythm and a tempo to pitching. You want to keep your defense on their toes. They make plays behind you. So definitely the tempo of the game is a big key in that. Just if I start struggling a little bit, I'll step off the mound and just kind of get everything back, the rhythm and all that good stuff. So it definitely carries over into music to baseball.
Which I think, Sean, it was your second start or third start. You didn't have that, and
no,
I think you talked about that after the game.
Yeah, I mean it's just natural. I'm a human being. I'm going to struggle. I just got to go out there the next inning and try to stay positive about things and try to keep my team in the ball game.
So I could ask you who your favorite baseball player is, but I want to know who your favorite drummer is. Is it like a Neil Peart or some?
No.
Who's the guy?
Favorite drummer is Carter Buford, Dave Matthews Band.
Really?
Ah.
Yeah, he's pretty. He's one of the better drummers I've ever heard. He gets pretty crazy back there, and just all his time signatures, and he just switches things up where the normal ear doesn't have any idea what's going on.
So I'm imagining Dave Matthews is on your iPod.
Oh, absolutely, every album.
0-2 coming to Matt Wieters, and he swings and misses. Good change up. Write that one down, Volstad.
Yeah, good change up.
Make sure you get that in the book.
Hey, Sean, how exciting was it the other day in the ball game pitching against the Yankees?
Oh, I just try to take each game as the same. I don't change my game any. It's a different team, different jersey. Good fan base for the Yankees here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I had a good time just seeing all those guys and on TV and just facing them is pretty unreal.
Nolasco facing Robert Andino, a swing and a miss. Now, the game is not Guitar Hero. What's the game that you are just the best at?
Rock band.
Rock band.
Yeah.
What level are you?
Expert.
Wow.
A 95 to a 98 guy.
Have you run into anybody in a major league clubhouse that's even close to that?
No, guys usually don't play that. I need to bring it in here and kind of introduce it to everybody.
Who's got a little musical talent on our club here?
John Baker. Kind
Okay.
of fiddles a little bit with guitar. I brought it in the other day. I was going to bring it on the road trip to Toronto and Boston, but ended up not being enough room on the plane, so couldn't bring it. But John was fiddling around with it in the clubhouse. I was pretty impressed.
Pretty impressed with that. Ricky
Fastball
Nolasco.
in.
Yep. All right, when you get back to tell Volstad, thanks for the half inning and thanks for visiting with us, Sean.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Good luck tomorrow night. All right, Sean West. Nice work by the big lefty and by Nolasco. The AT&T Rapid Rewind.
No doubt somebody in the Orioles clubhouse or in the dugout over there.
Hey, I got to say this. I'm contractually obligated. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. Niner, that is a fastball high. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Chris Coughlin always kept a close eye on this team, the Baltimore Orioles. He was an Oriole fan growing up in Rockville, Maryland. Only went to one home game. Then he moved at the age of 9 to Tampa Bay. And that's when he went to a lot of Oriole games when they were in town. And also spring training. He said he was an autograph hound. He got Mike Mussina's autograph. But there's one autograph he never got. And it was Cal Ripken Jr. He said one day he got as close as possible. Cal was signing for everybody. And he just didn't see Coughlin. So Coughlin pulled the old drop the hat and ball routine at Cal's foot. But I guess Cal didn't see it. Kept walking by. Figured he has to pick it up. And if he does, he'll sign. And unfortunately, he never got that autograph. So if you're watching Cal, one day, get him an autograph.
Oh, I think that'll happen. Coughlin bounces out against Jason Birkin. That'll bring Bonifacio up with Hanley Ramirez to follow in a 3-0 ball game. We've strayed from the email path, so let's dive back in.
All right, let's get back on path.
There was I have to scroll up because there was a good one regarding the hold. Our address, ask.themarlins@fox.com. Yeah, the hold last night, it's Pat from Boca. And Pat's email is this. This is almost an angry email, probably more a perturbed email. I'm sure it follows the rules for a hold, but it seems unfair that Matt Lindstrom's outing last night against the Orioles merits a hold. Ouch. That's Pat saying, ouch. What is the definition, and shouldn't there be something in it to stop a performance like Lindstrom's from getting a hold? I completely agree with you.
You're not going to get any arguments from us. We agree with that. We think it's a statistic that actually we don't discuss a whole lot. But, yeah, the fact that that was a hold, and then Brian Sanchez actually got the blown save.
Ground ball in the hole, and Dino backhands. Nice play by Robert. And so there are 2 outs. Here in the 5th, Jason Birkin has settled down a bit. Is your group looking for a special event? Save money and provide them with an unforgettable experience at a Marlins game. Call our group sales department at 305-626-SAVE and ask about an upcoming special event in June, including Ladies Night Out, Scout Night, CPA Night, all-you-can-eat seats, and more. Hanley Ramirez takes high. We've had many questions about the Marlins bullpen and what will the Marlins do now that Lindstrom is out. Who will close? And if you've just joined us, Matt Lindstrom placed on the disabled list with a sprained elbow. And this is not a 15-day thing. They're going to shut him down for 3 or 4 weeks. So in the meantime, you would think Leo Nunez, but Nunez is not available tonight with a sore ankle.
Yeah, he did tell me that his ankle's better, and he thought he might be able to, but I think Freddie and Mark Wiley just want to be extra careful. But it's not serious, and hopefully he will be in a day or 2.
And I think Nunez is probably the logical guy to get a shot at the 9th inning. But if he wavers, and he's had some opportunities this year to do that, and it hasn't quite worked out as well. So who knows? That's a position that if and you lose a closer, it's not just the closer, because it slides everybody down the ladder, so to speak, and it really jumbles up the bullpen.
And it doesn't help with Kiko Calero on the disabled list as well.
Marlins are hoping to get him back in 7 to 10 days. So I think if the ball club is exploring opportunities or looking for ways to help themselves, that might be a spot right now that is maybe a bigger need than the leadoff, not the leadoff spot, but to Bonifacio's spot at third base, which has been a focus of fans and baseball writers and such.
Yeah, no question, especially what has transpired today.
Here's the 3-2 pitch. And they got a breaking ball, and he pops it out into shallow left center. Charging in is PA. And Felix PA makes the catch. 1, 2, 3 go the fish in the 5th.
está disponible en español vía SAP y es presentado por KFC.
KFC, press the SAP button and you get KFC as well. Raul Stryker, Cookie Rojas. Hi, guys.
Rich, Tommy, how are you?
Good. Ricky Nolasco is even better.
He sure is. He has great control today, using his fastball, getting ahead of the hitter, and that good curveball and changeup working for him. So, really doing a great job so far.
This is something that Freddie Gonzalez needs tonight, too. A good outing from his starter.
No question. As long as he can stand himself to the 7th or 8th inning, and he don't have to go to the bullpen, maybe he can even finish the game. Who knows?
Hey, with Randy Johnson here a couple of weeks ago, we were talking a lot about how we'll probably never see another 300-game winner again. What about 4 20-game winners in one team?
Yeah, we had that as the Affleck trivia question.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see that again either. You probably faced all those guys, didn't you, Cookie?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Of course, and
Cuellar, he turned the ball over
60s.
a little bit, didn't he? Cuellar?
He had a great screwball.
Yeah.
You know, that was his best pitch, and a good changeup and a slow curveball. But all of those were great pitchers.
Hey, guys, tonight is an email Wednesday. There's Mark Hendrickson in the bullpen. One question, I've been looking online for the answer to this. Someone wanted to know if there was ever a leadoff hitter that has driven in 100 runs in a season.
That's tough.
And Ricky Henderson has not done it. Brian Downing has not done it.
My answer was Bobby Bonds.
All right,
He could do that.
He could have done it.
Yeah.
But you don't know if he had leadoff all year.
Well, he
did
off a lot in his career.
Most of his career he did,
yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess we also have to assume that it would have to have definitely been in the American League as opposed to the National League.
It's probably a safe bet. There's a chopper.
Retazo Machucón a tercera.
Bonifacio on over to first. Nicely done.
Bonita jugada ahí.
All right, when for everybody's information here, Bobby Bonds with the Giants in 71 drove in 102.
Wow.
Was he leading off in 71?
I think so.
I think so, too.
Okay.
I believe.
And later, I think he was not leading off the year that he drove in 115 runs with the Angels in 77.
Wasn't he a 30-32?
He was multiple 30-30 guy. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, good stuff, guys. Have a good rest of the night.
You too, guys.
fellas.
Let's win this one.
All right. Brian Roberts takes a breaking ball outside.
By the way, that was Nolan Reimold pinch hitting for the pitcher, Jason Birkin. So we will see big Mark Hendrickson. And tell you what, Ricky Nolasco came into this inning. He had thrown 60 pitches, 68 pitches now. And as Cookie said, he's used the curveball, the cutter, and slider has worked well for him. A few changeups. So this now is 4th start since coming back after his 2-start stint in the minor leagues. And he has been a completely different pitcher.
Nolasco misses outside. I think that emailer is onto something, because I pulled up Bonds, his splits in that 71 season, and batting leadoff, he drove in only 39 runs. He hit 4th, 3rd, 5th, 8th.
That's the hard part of that question, is to find someone like a Ricky Henderson who always hit leadoff. Because some guys will fluctuate during the course of the season.
I think that, if the 3-2 is popped over the dugout and out of play. Well, are there any other leadoff guys? Because we've run through 3 that had some pretty good pop. Ricky, Downing, and Bonds.
How many Jimmy Rollins drive in his MVP season?
Jimmy. Let's pull Rollins up. That one's fouled into the seats. Rollins has never driven in 100 runs. He drove in 94 in 2007.
So he came close.
Was Biggio a leadoff guy for a while? Drive to left. That ball's pretty well hit. Coughlin going back. Won't get it. And he plays it off the wall. Roberts racing in. And you know what? That's a play that in a couple of months, Chris Coughlin may be able to make. Because as we watch his route and getting to the ball, Still,
that's a tough one because it's that one that's directly over your head. And he almost got a little too close to the wall, but he made a good recovery. Strong throw back, but Roberts has speed, and he also hit his 25th double. He's the leader in the American League in doubles. But well played by Chris Coughlin, even though he did get a little close. But that's a tough one, that one that's directly over your head.
Yeah, at the learning the point of when do you turn and run, or as he did, kind of turn and keep the head cocked back the whole way. So Roberts is aboard. PA, couple of hits. Breaking ball for a strike. Velasco misses up with a fastball. Brady Anderson's name has been lobbed into the discussion. Biggio, by the way, never drove in 100 runs.
Brady Anderson had that 1 year where he hit over 50 home runs for the Orioles.
Ground ball. Cantu steps on the bag. PA is out. Roberts moves up. Hyundai Road ahead. Orioles tomorrow, and then the Rays. Marlins are in St. Pete Friday, Saturday. Tommy and I get to work on Sunday. Hooray, in high definition.
And you can catch Dwayne Statz and Kevin Kennedy, I believe, Friday and Saturday. One more name I'm going to throw out there, and then we can move on, get some more emails. How about Alfonso Soriano? Well, Ricky made some good pitches to Markakis in the first inning to strike him out with a man on third and one out. He struck out Markakis in the fourth inning and starts him off with a real good curveball there.
Fastball misses in.
Talk about a young player who's just going to keep getting better and better. In his first 3 years, Markakis has averaged 20 home runs, 87 RBIs, and 39 doubles.
We've run into that same issue. Anderson drove in 110 runs that big year, but just 69 out of the leadoff spot.
See, that's what's tough about that question. The guys don't hit leadoff all year.
So it's 2-1. A strike.
I think it's amazing, and it's an example of how you can't look at an overall picture. The Orioles are probably saying, well, here's a guy with an ERA of 7.15 coming into the game. But you really have to just look back to the last 3 starts of Ricky Nolasco.
Ground ball. Bonifacio knocks it down and then throws it away. And the Orioles are on the board. Markakis races to second. Good play to get there. Not so good on the throw. It'll be an E5.
We've seen Bonifacio make some pretty good plays tonight. That one bobbled. He picked it up, still had a shot to get him, and then the ball trickles away. So it's an error all the way. There's the bobble. He's able to get it. And an in-between hop for Jorge Cantu.
And it's a play like that obviously it gives the Orioles a run, but it extends Nolasco's inning. And if you're hoping to get a complete game, or at least get him into the 8th inning, that obviously is going to hurt.
And this is an area you were talking earlier this inning or last inning about the needs, and with the shape of the bullpen, obviously another arm's always good, but that's the 13th error for Bonifacio. That leads all major league third basemen. And it's kind of a catch-22 because he has good range and he's made some really nice plays. He's made some nice plays tonight, earlier in the game.
Ricky misses inside to Aubrey Huff. Huff represents the tying run at the plate.
Yeah, not only does it extend Ricky Nolasco, but he has to face Huff, a tough left-handed hitter. I think you'd be surprised at the third baseman who's made the second most errors in the National League.
Gold Glove winner.
I think we always talk about him as a third baseman who should have won a Gold Glove but never had.
I've got two of those guys, Felice or Ramirez, but he's hurt, Aramis Ramirez. So
how about Chipper Jones?
Really? Wow.
Pretty good fastball, but I don't think Ricky's all that upset that he lost Huff, because now he gets to go after the right-handed hitting Melvin Mora.
Well, his last three starts, if you break the numbers down, they look pretty good.
Yeah, and in those three starts, 18 innings, just 4 walks, 18 strikeouts, and that nifty 2.50 ERA. Look at the difference in opposing batters. 344 first 9 starts, 234 the last 3 starts.
And our crack staff has finally cracked the question that we were looking for. Since '74, only one player in the leadoff spot has had 100 RBIs leading off. Darren Erstad of the Angels. Alfonso Soriano had a 102 RBI season in '02, but only 99 came as a leadoff hitter.
Yeah, that was that year Erstad had incredible numbers, well over 200 hits.
Melvin Mora is 1 for 2. Mora's on one of those droughts that we saw Vernon Wells on, where he's gone a while without a home run. Wells broke out of that drought after the Marlins left Toronto.
You know, and you don't think a lot of Melvin Mora as a home run hitter, but he has 158 career home runs. He hit 23 last year. Had 104 RBIs last year.
I think a lot of guys that play in Baltimore end up getting decent home run numbers simply because that ballpark is so small and is a great home run hitter park.
Great hitters park. Melvin Mora has been an all-star a couple of times.
That's the ballpark, Camden Yards, that really changed the face of ballparks across this game. The architect smacked into left field. That's a base hit. Charging is Coughlin. Round third, and coming home is Roberts, and he's going to score. And so now Baltimore has put 2 on the board. Melvin Mora has an RBI single. It was Markakis that crossed. The 2 here in the 6th have made it a 1-run game.
And you can see what that error did. Error would have ended the inning. No harm, no foul here. Run would have scored anyway. And Huff didn't advance to third. But Markakis was able to score on that base hit by Mora, his 18th RBI.
And obviously you go back to the error on Bonifacio. Nolasco would be in the dugout. Marlins would be up. The pitch count would still be in the 70s. Outside corner.
It's funny how one little play can affect a lot of things.
Luke Scott looked like he just bit into a lemon on that call. Tim Wood in the bullpen. That one fouled back, and it's 0-2 with 2 outs.
He's had to throw 31 pitches this inning. Ricky has.
Nice. And Velasco yelling as he comes off the mound. Holds on to the lead. Couple unearned runs. It's 3-2.
If something bad happens, there's always a silver lining someplace else. And now we're going to find out about guys like LaRue and finding guys like Woody and Sanchez and all those guys. And who knows? We may have something real special in one of those guys.
Matt Lindstrom on the disabled list. Leo Nunez not available, at least tonight. So Freddie may have to patch it together as the Marlins go to work in the bottom of the 6th. Now that is the life. Give me that.
Yeah.
Give me that. Nice. Mark Hendrickson, former Marlin, on the mound and out of the bullpen for the Orioles.
Well, the veteran lefty turned 35 yesterday. So Mark Hendrickson, we saw him a lot, saw him all year. Throw that slow breaking ball, move his fastball around. Been kind of the same situation this year for him with Baltimore. He started the year in their rotation. Now he finds himself working out the bullpen. That was similar to what happened last year with the Marlins.
Cantu greets him with a high fly ball. PA out there and makes the catch. Normally with our Coors Light freeze can, we freeze just one thing, but tonight we figured, what the heck?
This is multi-freeze can night.
Let's freeze everything we can. Here it is, our Coors Light freeze can. What are we freezing first? Oh, how about bake? Look at the eyes. Cody swing? Nope. Get out of the way.
That's Cody doing the limbo.
Hugs coming in. See, I like this freeze can better. That's the Frost Brewed Coors Light freeze can. I like multiple freezes.
Does that make more work for our guys?
I'm not sure. Hermida, now that's a base hit. And down the line it goes, trickling into the corner. In to get it is Scott. And that's got to feel good for Herm.
It does. Anytime a hitter gets mired in a slump, any base hit looks good, believe me, but especially one like that. Stay back and drive it. Was able to drive it down that line, and it is our Checkers double of the game. So good swing by Jeremy Hermida, and a one-out double puts him into scoring position. And we've talked about it. He's had a a nice run, even though we don't mention it a lot, in interleague play. As far as hitting, home runs, 8 home runs in interleague play.
Here's Dan Uggla. Uggla has walked and scored and struck out. Hendrickson, former basketball star, NBA player.
There's that slow breaking ball.
Jay from Kendall emails us. Will the Marlins go after Matt Holliday? Oakland is shopping him around, and he would fit perfectly with the Marlins' needs as a consistent contact hitter.
Here's the deal with Holliday. He would fit pretty much with any club. If you put him in left field, let him swing the bat. But if you trade for a guy like Matt Holliday, a lot of clubs aren't going to be able to sign him. He's gonna command a lot of money next year. So if the Marlins were to do that, they'd probably only have him for half a year. And who would you have to give up then to get a player for half a year?
Where would you play him?
Yeah, where would you play him?
He's probably best suited for left field.
Left field.
And that's where the Marlins have Chris Coghlan, and it sounds as if the Marlins are a bit reluctant to move Coghlan either to third or to second. So
the trades always sound easy until you start talking about them and figure out what you would have to do.
Someone earlier asking if the Marlins would be looking to trade for a guy like Houston Street. And first you have to have a club that's willing to give up a guy like Houston Street. Hendrickson misses inside.
Those speculative trades and rumors are for all the talk shows.
Well, teams have to figure out, and we're getting to that time of year where teams have to decide, are they buyers or sellers? And the hard thing for many organizations, 2-2, Uggla pulls it foul, is that when you get to the deadline, end of July, there's 2 months left in the season. And with the wild card, Larry Beinfest knows this very well. There are so many teams that still are in contention that making the decision to be buyers or sellers is not easy. Uggla fouls that one off.
If you look just in the National League, you have 8 or 9 teams right now that I'm sure feel they still have a chance to get to the postseason. I think we can eliminate Washington. We can forget about Arizona. San Diego's 15 games out. Even with the tremendous run the Rockies have been on, they're still 10 games behind the Dodgers.
Little flare from Uggla's going to fall right field. Round third. Here comes Hermida. Here comes the throw. He is out.
And his buddy got him. Markakis got him.
Nick Markakis in right field with his 8th assist of the season.
We talked about Markakis with a strong arm, very good arm, right fielder. You always want to have the strongest arm. Not only strong, but accurate. And look at Wieters just reach back and get the tag on the foot of Jeremy Hermida. Just a perfect throw by Markakis. And Cody Ross right there. Notice the on-deck hitter. Cody Ross letting him know to slide.
So it's still a one-run game. Now there's 2 outs here in the 6th. Ball in the dirt, and Wieters knocks it down. Boy, Wieters. There's Sanchez. You would never know that you're watching a rookie catcher who's 2 years out of college in watching Wieters. He looks like a 10-year veteran.
And they say he approaches it and acts like that, too. The things that he asks as far as questions, he's an alert, wanting to learn, and knows The thing that I heard about him is that he knows that his job as a catcher is to make that pitcher feel comfortable, make him feel confident in what he's throwing. And the hitting, which for him, a switch hitter, it'll come. There'll be no problem.
Ross drives it to center field. PA got turned around, and he won't catch up to it. It kicks off the wall, and then out of the park, it's a double. Boy, if not for that odd angle, that stays in, and Uggla scores.
Second double of the night for Cody Ross. Remember, his first one was an RBI double down to the left field corner. This one he hit much harder, much further. Takes it right back to center field. Even if PA had taken the correct route, he wouldn't have caught up to this. And then watch this ball bounces out. PA holds his hands up, say, yep, automatic double. And see, Cody knows because it bounced out, Uggla cannot score from first base.
All right, now first base is open. Nolasco is on deck. It's lefty against lefty here. It's the bottom of the 6th. Ball in the dirt. We had a question, an email question from Jerry in West Palm Beach. And it related to last night, but I think it relates to this moment right now. Why was Andrew Miller taken out after only 83 pitches and only 1 hit last night?
Freddie tossed that around, but if you remember, he was taken out for a pinch hitter, Ross Glode, who singled, and that was the inning the Marlins scored 5 runs.
And so,
yeah, in the American League, don't have to worry about that.
Right.
And Andrew Miller goes another inning or 2.
And if you're Dave Tremblay, you see Sanchez in the bullpen, you see Nolasco on deck, there's 2 outs. If you walk Baker, you could force Freddie's hand here.
And he knows the shape of Freddie's bullpen. So I'm surprised he's not just having Bake put on intentionally anyway. And force Freddie's hand.
And here's that spot for Bake again. Anything close to the plate, he's got to swing and try to hit it. Helms has got gloves and ready to go. So it looks like
more than likely Freddie Gonzalez will pinch hit if it gets to that spot of the lineup.
Breaking ball, and Bake really hasn't had anything to swing at. And I'd be stunned if Wieters doesn't stand up and put the glove out and just put him on. And I guess he's not. So it's 3-0. Wow. He came after him.
And again, that might be a situation if you're Baker, you're looking for something else.
Yeah, something with a bend to it.
You're saying, well, he's not going to give me anything to hit.
That happened to Bake in the 4th when he took a called 3rd strike. Ross and Uggla are out there. There's 2 outs. He got another fastball.
How about that? All of a sudden, Hendrickson's poured 2 fastballs in for strikes.
That was right at the knees. So it's 3-2.
This is what hitting 8th in the National League is, why it's so difficult.
Mind games. Got him. Hendrickson goes 3-0 and then comes back and gets Baker. Well, at least Nolasco will stay in the game. 3-2 ball game, 1-run game into the 7th. Little intrigue here. Nolasco's back out for the 7th. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton. We've got the laptop fired up. Email night tonight. I know last night was a lot of fun with the auction. We had a lot of questions about the auction. $82,000 was the total amount last night that we raised for the Marlins Community Foundation. And we thank many of you emailers I know were the ones that bought the pledge packs or bid on many of the items. We'll try to dig into the email bag here. Ask.themarlins@fox.com. Ask.themarlins@fox.com. Here is Wieters. And this is, in all likelihood, the last inning for Nolasco because he's going to lead off in the 7th.
Rich, I'm trying to look at that situation last inning with the glass half full.
Yeah.
And if I look at it that way, I say, okay, maybe Freddie now can get one more inning out of Ricky and then try to get 6 outs from the bullpen.
Daniel Pinto in the pen. Jordan from Boca. Are the Marlins the only team in baseball to have never lost a playoff series? That is a good question. The Blue Jays have lost. Remember, they lost in the postseason. Arizona lost. Buck Showalter's first. I think Arizona's first entry into the postseason was a Buck Showalter team that lost in the first division series.
Come on, Matt. We have good questions tonight. They're making us think way too much,
especially after a long night last night. Wieters, a fly ball to right, and someone better get there, and they don't, and it lands between all three, Hermida, Ross, and Ugla. Yikes.
Well, you see that ball go up in the air, and you say somebody's got to get there. Not sure if it's Dan Ugla, Jeremy Hermida. Cody Ross probably couldn't get there. But Wieters just found the right spot, and a pitching coach shows his emotions.
Lives and dies with the guy out on the mound.
Yes, he does.
Here's Andino. He's going to try to bunt, and he pops it foul and out of play. Robert Andino will live in Marlins history as a guy that beat the New York Mets in Game 2 last year with a walk-off home run.
Yeah, second game of the season.
Juan Samuel counseling Andino. Here it is. Andino, left field! How about that? How about that, Robert? Ball game! Marlins win it! Hometown kid makes good and ends this game with a walk-off shot. Pops the bunt up. Cantu charges in and makes the catch.
Yeah, that's a nice out right there. A little bit of a gift. Not a real good attempt by Robert. And now Dave Tremblay will go to his bench again.
You heard the home plate umpire Chad Fairchild yelling Dave, and I think he wanted to clarify whether the move was a double switch or straight up. Everybody is on record as wanting to clarify that these days. Mark Wiley is out. Ryan Zimmerman and the New Look Nationals, new look because they're playing better, will be here on Monday the 29th through Wednesday the 1st. Tuesday's Miami Herald will have the 2 for Tuesday coupon, and Wednesday is Camp Day at 12:10.
Well, right now the Washington Nationals are hosting John Lester and the Boston Red Sox, and the Red Sox have a 6-3 lead in the 7th inning.
So the Orioles will send up Oscar Salazar. Salazar was a hero last night. He had a couple of hits after coming in the ball game.
Yeah, got a pinch hit and then picked up another hit in that 9th inning.
Salazar rolls it out towards short. Handley, Ugla, can't shoot. Nice. Ricky Nolasco rolls a double play. Bottom of the 7th. Everybody up. 7th inning stretch.
Hey, Rich, how can we ever forget the night of June 22nd, 2006, the last time these two teams met? Remember this crazy finish? One of the wackiest finishes in Marlins history. They were down 5-1 in the 9th inning in this game. In Baltimore, they had won 9 out of 10. Joe Borchard with 2 outs hit a 2-run homer. It was now a 1-run game. They scored 1 earlier in that inning. Next up, another pinch hit homer. Back-to-back pinch hit homers. Wes Helms tied the game. First time in 5 years, back-to-back pinch hit home runs from the Bigs. And then in the 10th, intentionally walked. No! Miguel Cabrera goes after that pitch. An RBI hit. And the Marlins won it 8-5 in 10 innings. Their 10th win in 11 games. The guy who gave up the pinch hit back-to-back homers, Chris Ray, the closer then, was in the minor leagues with Baltimore. Just got recalled yesterday, so he's with the ball club and in the bullpen. One of the craziest games you've ever seen, though. And the Marlins pulled that out on that night in Baltimore.
All right, a couple moves here. Matt Albers is in, and Ross Gload is pitch hitting. That means Ricky Nolasco is out. So is Mark Hendrickson.
They saw that win in Baltimore, and of course the Marlins winning last night. The Marlins against the Orioles are 14-5.
Joe Borchard, I believe, is at AAA with the Giants. Is that right? In Fresno?
Fresno. By the way, it was Ross Gload's base hit in the 7th inning when he was pinch hitting for Andrew Miller. Stroked a single into right field, and that got things going, kept things going. And the Marlins scored 5 times. That was the Hanley Ramirez grand slam inning.
So if this is a 3 or a 4-run game, Nolasco is probably at the plate.
Maybe, maybe not. 101 pitches. So maybe, maybe not.
And he went around. So Gload strikes out. And up comes Coughlin. Coughlin's 0 for 2. He's bounced out twice, walked, and scored.
Yeah, Chris came into this game, his last 2 games, 5 for 10, and continues to flourish in that #1 spot. Came into the game hitting over 320 in 22 games as a leadoff hitter.
Hi, my name is Todd. I'm from Jupiter. And I'm wondering, are the Marlins going to try to acquire Juan Pierre now that Manny Ramirez is coming back?
I truly think the Dodgers would be leery of getting rid of Pierre. He's such a great insurance piece. You don't know about Ethier. Not sure about Kemp if they're going to stay healthy the rest of the year. You don't know if Manny's going to stay healthy the rest of the year. He had hamstring problems early in the season.
Or clean.
Yeah. And I'll be quite honest, I was very tired of hearing about the the love fest in Albuquerque last night for Manny Ramirez in his first rehab game, going 0 for 2.
Coughlin pulls one on the ground. Aubrey Huff steps on the bag. So Matt Albers has come in and has 2 quick outs. We've had a variety of questions about Pedro Martinez, if the Marlins are in the market for Pedro or a Tom Glavine. Glavine has announced he's not going to pitch this year.
I think both pitchers, both Glavine and Pedro, at this stage of their careers, are 5-inning guys. And that's the last thing the Marlins need.
And there have been numerous teams that have scouted Martinez throwing in the Dominican, and then none of those teams have signed him. Whether Pedro's asking for too much or whether those teams were not that impressed, it's hard to say. Infield hits, our Firestone leaderboard. The Marlins sit atop that list. Still chewing on the question about the Marlins being the only team in baseball to have never lost a playoff series.
You can chew on that one yourself.
Well, let's go down the list. Dodgers, Giants, Rockies, Padres, Diamondbacks have all lost.
Obviously, the teams that have been around,
Cardinals,
it's happened. So you have to really think of newer teams.
Brewers, Cubs,
I'm
Reds.
trying to help you out here.
All right. The Rays have lost a series. They lost the World Series. Royals have lost a series. Seattle's lost a series. Texas has lost a postseason series. I think that emailer is correct. And that's Jordan in Boca.
So does that give Jordan any kind of a gift?
Yeah, on July 1st, he can go see that. Chopper over the middle. Going to be a tough play. Safe. Add another total to that Firestone leaderboard.
Yeah, and you know, those infield base hits. There is why everybody wants to see Bonifacio hit the ball on the ground. A chopper like that, Brian Roberts makes a great play and may have gotten Bonifacio, but Brian Roberts comes out on the short end that time, and Bonifacio gets the hit.
Well, Marlins get a break, and let's see if they can take advantage of it with 2 outs here in the 7th. You would not expect Bonifacio to be at first long. He's running. Pitch in the dirt. Wieters' throw is going to end up in center field. Bonifacio is going to end up at third. And he's coming home. Here's the throw. Bonifacio's in there. Wow. Wow.
That is exactly what excites the Marlins about Bonifacio. He can tear your heart out once in a while, but look at his speed. Stop and go. And under the tag of Wieters.
Great work by our camera crew. And Felix Pie kind of finessed that ball back to the infield. And Bonifacio took a peek. He saw Pie release the ball. And as soon as that happened, he dashed home.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think when he saw the way the ball, he wasn't thinking about when it got to the infield. But when he saw how it was going to get to the infield, that helped him make his decision. Yeah, see, right there.
That's a big run because the Marlins are going to their bullpen in the 8th. A thin bullpen.
You know, we saw the absolute speed there. And again, that's the intriguing thing of Emilio Bonifacio. A chopper to second, he beats it out with blazing speed. He takes off when he should, early, right away, to try to steal. Wieters rushed the throw, got a tough pitch in the dirt, threw it away, and then when he saw PA lob it back in, never hesitated.
And Nolasco certainly likes that because Ricky, it was Bonifacio's error that allowed the inning to continue. Those 2 runs that Baltimore have are unearned runs thanks to the Bonifacio error.
So Ricky Nolasco, 7 innings and allowed the 2 unearned runs. Another terrific start for Ricky. 7 strikeouts in. Just 1 walk.
Let's see if Hanley's running. We have a Manny in Miami email. Hanley is running. Wieters throw, not in time. Number 10 for Hanley.
And good decision by Hanley to get there quickly. Straight on, very good. Makes it tough for Wieters, a young catcher. A good jump and a hard slide.
1-0 to Cantu. Manny in Miami wants to know, could it be possible to see someone like Michael Stanton or Logan Morrison get called up later this year the way Miguel Cabrera got called up in 2003?
You know, I would say either of those guys. Remember, Logan Morrison has been just coming back off the disabled list. His season is a little shorter this year because of his injury. But to see them in September would not be a surprise.
Boy, that call was a surprise to Cantu. I don't think Wieters did his pitcher any favor. That's one where a catcher almost took it out of the zone.
Yeah, it looked a little low. And obviously it depends on how those Stanton now in Double-A, how they continue on the rest of the year. But to see them in September would not be a surprise.
Got a piece held by Wieters. Marlins create a run out of thin air. Emilio Bonifacio. beautiful ninth inning. Just as middle relievers keep their team in the game, you two can stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. Bonifacio is it all over the place, and he's got a blowout there.
Yeah, but he could fly with that blowout.
We had a blowout question earlier tonight on an email that I did not get to. Reniel Pinto in, and this will give us an idea of how the Marlins are going to try to piece this together with the bullpen. Pinto the first out, and he gets Roberts.
Go ahead. I'm thinking ahead, and I want to throw something out before it gets to that point.
Okay. 0-1 on the way.
So this gets people watching thinking, because Freddie's thinking this too. If Reniel Pinto has a nice, easy 1-2-3 inning, does Freddie bring him back in the ninth, or does he go to the bullpen again?
Well, there's a couple schools of thought there. There's the one that, yeah, you ride the horse that's running well. The other one is this. If Pinto throws 2 innings tonight, you might not have him tomorrow.
You don't get him tomorrow night. So, I mean, it's just something to think about.
And is there strength in numbers, or do you just leave the guy in there? The problem is,
because Pinto has success against righties and lefties, so it doesn't matter.
And Pinto has pitched in a big league game, and that's not something that Tim Wood could say he's done. And Chris LaRue's done it only once in his career.
Well, on the other hand, he's just walked the leadoff guy, though, Brian Roberts. So it might be a moot point.
Yeah. So Roberts is aboard. That won't draw a happy face in the column of Pinto's page on the notebook from Mark Wiley.
But again, it kind of gets you into the head of a manager and what Freddie Gonzalez has to start thinking about, really, before Pinto even throws a pitch in that inning.
Adam Jones, excuse me, is going to pinch hit. Adam Jones, the young outfielder for the Orioles. It also brings to mind that, 2, 3, 4 days ago, even heck, you could go back weeks or months, people have been clamoring for somebody other than Matt Lindstrom to close games. And there is Sanchez. And you oftentimes hear, well, just try anybody, because anybody other than Lindstrom would be better. But now that Lindstrom's out for a month, now the hue and cry is, what are the Marlins going to do?
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah. Nunez is not available tonight again. He's got a sore ankle. So Jones hitting for PA.
And by the way, Tremblay making that move. PA, a left-handed hitter. Adam Jones, the righty.
And a guy that could tie it up with one swing.
We have seen, though, just what little in Adam Jones. He is a free swinger. 56 strikeouts, just 19 walks. So if Pinto can make his pitches, he should have success against Jones.
Yeah, Jones last year walked just 23 times and struck out 113. That was in 132 games. Roberts away from first. Jones drives it to center. Ross eyes it. There's an out. And the nice thing about having Pinto in there now is that the way the Orioles lineup is set up, you've got Markakis and Huff, a couple left-handed bats.
It's one of the things that was tough on Freddie Gonzalez a couple of weeks ago before he got Pinto back, is that he only had Dan Meyer, the only lefty in the bullpen. Most managers always want to have 2. A lot of managers like to have 3 lefties in their bullpen.
And I think you and I would both agree the best bullpen that we've seen this year belongs to the Boston Red Sox. Pinto misses outside. Joe in Vero Beach. How is Bonifacio's play scored? Single, stolen base, then what?
Stolen base, an error allows him to go to third. And then I would say fielder's choice is just on the throw coming to the plate. I don't think you give another error.
Good fastball. Two and one. Roberts opened with a walk.
It also could be scored, which I think it has, stolen base and a two-base error.
Ross, good jump, and is there. So 2 outs to center. Time for our Home Depot doing more on defense play of the game. Ricky Nolasco trying to get through 7. The double play was the Marlins' friend last night.
Well, Oscar Salazar, ground ball is short. Ricky liked it. And again, we see a nice turn from the middle infielder, Dan Uggla, with some good defense in this series. He had a good defensive series against the Yankees, too.
So with 2 outs, Huff stands in. John from Fort Lauderdale emails, the Marlins seem to be going with a closer by committee. When's the last time a World Series champion didn't have one clear closer? It's a good question. We've had some great questions tonight. Chopper, Cantu's got it. And Pinto works a scoreless 8th. Marlins on top 4-2. Tosca probably tossing around the 9th. Dan Meyer is down there.
Well, keep in mind 13 pitches for Raniel Pinto. And you have Mora, a right-hander, Scott, a lefty, but they'll probably pinch hit for him if a lefty's on the mound. And then the switch hitting catcher, Matt Wieters.
Matt Albers is still on the mound for the Orioles. Hermida has doubled in 3 trips. Remember, he was thrown out at the plate on that throw by his buddy Nick Markakis. Albers runs that away. Adam Jones stays in the ball game. He's in center field. You know, between innings, we were tossing around that closer question. The Cardinals, when they won their World Championship, remember, was it Jason Isringhausen got hurt, and they called up and threw Adam Wainwright into that role.
And he didn't give up a run postseason.
So I don't know if it's by committee, but he wasn't necessarily the clear closer all year. And he went right back to being a starter after that. Hermida pops out. Now Ugla. Ugla tonight has singled, walked, and struck out. Marlins trying to make it 2 in a row against the Orioles, trying to make it 4 in a row overall. They've won 7 of their last 10. On a night where the Braves are losing to the Yankees 4-3 in the 8th, and the Phillies are losing to Tampa Bay 2-1 in the 8th. So the Fish could pick up a full game on the Phillies if the scores hold both here and in St. Pete.
Yeah, the Rays started Matt Garza in that game against Philadelphia.
The Mets are hammering St. Louis 9-0 in the 7th. Did not go. The funny thing is, we were talking about closers in that role, and tonight we talked about 71, the year that the Orioles had 4 20-game winners. Who was their closer? Ugla. That's a screamer off the glove of Mora, and it trickles down the line. Ugla's not going to stop until he's got a double.
Boy, this ball is stung. Dan Ugla 2 for 3 tonight. And that's a do-or-die play by Melvin Mora at third base. And because he deflected it, it took a little funny hop and then just trickled into shallow left field. And you love to see the dirty uniform of Dan Ugla chug into second base. He's had a nice night, defensively and offensively.
Cody Ross.
What 16 of Dan Ugla's last 34 hits have been for extra bases. Cody Ross has had a nice night. Speaking of extra base hits, 2 doubles.
Ross did not think that was a strike. And his discussion with Chad Fairchild is brief.
You always try to make those discussions brief with the home plate umpire. Boy, he's called a couple of lows. Remember the one he called on Cantu.
Discussion a little longer with good reason.
Yeah, it's not a strike either. Yeah, it's frustrating. You get up there and you're trying to do something that's one of the most difficult things to do in sport.
Cody doesn't want to get thrown out.
Yeah, tough for him now though to the count 0-2. It's a tough AB here.
Ball gets by Wieters and then bounces back over his head. Ugla moves up. Now Cody has a chance to drive in this run.
And now he has to change his focus just a little bit. Regroup.
By the way, the guy that led that Orioles team in saves in 71, a guy named Eddie Watt.
Ed Watt. Sinker ball right-hander. Played with Ed Watt 1 year in Philadelphia.
At 11. Ross into left field.
That's how you answer it.
That's a great at bat. After getting buried by the first 2 calls, Ross kept his head up. He stayed in the game. You need him out there, obviously, in center field.
I think one of the things that really helped this at bat after the questionable calls was the wild pitch. The wild pitch moving Dan Uggla to third. All of a sudden, as a hitter, your mindset changes. And Cody regrouped, and a 3-for-4 night.
Aubrey Huff is probably telling him, man, I thought those were low too.
This guy's having a bad night, isn't he? Yeah, conversations go like that at first base. How about that one to Cantu? Can you believe that?
Yeah, did you see that one?
Hey, Cody Ross now, 5-game hitting streak, 9 for 19, hitting .474 during that time.
The Gilden family from North Palm Beach, another team with closer by committee, the 90 Reds with the Nasty Boys.
Nasty Boys. I'll tell you, the Reds in the 70s had a mixture of guys. They'd have Will McEnany. They have Raleigh Eastwood.
That's a flare. That's a base hit. Bates got 2 hits tonight.
Just off the end of the bat, but right spot, and every once in a while as a hitter you love to get those.
So it's Wes Helms pinch hitting. Alvarez misses outside. Nobody's warming up in the Orioles bullpen.
See Rob Dibble, Norm Trump,
and Randy Meyer.
They all individually at one time or another were closers.
Dan from Fish Stripes points out the 86 Mets, 22 saves for Roger McDowell, 21 for Jesse Orozco.
That's more of a generational thing. You go back a few years.
Broken bat, and Dino gets the out at first. So with 2 outs, Coughlin comes up. Marlins and Rays fans, the Checkers Citrus Series concludes this weekend. Tune in to see who wins the bet of the 40-piece party size of Checkers Classic Wings. Checkers will donate $1,000 to the winning team's charity of choice. And you could win a 3-piece of Checkers Classic Wings. For details, see sunsportstv.com following the conclusion of Sunday's game. What happens if it's 3-3?
Talking about closers by committee, last thought, and I think I've mentioned this before, but in the mid-70s, when the Phillies had some teams that went to postseason, 3 guys at times would close games. Gene Garber, Tug McGraw, Ron Reed. And our Red Sox historian, by the way, Scott Hopkins, has said that he's blocked out 86, so has no memory of that.
How's his memory of 75?
You're starting to upset him now.
Or 03. Alvarez misses outside. Yes. That's all right. Scott was in all his glory up in Fenway when we were up there. He had a chance to come up and work with us. Coughlin takes outside corner. Counts 2-2. Marlins up 5-2 here in the 8th.
Time for another big hit. Chris looking to extend his hitting streak, trying to get his first one tonight. There's Scott.
Scotty, did you grow up in Massachusetts? Is that right? Where'd you grow up? Massachusetts? Yes, all right. Were you a Southie? Swing and a miss. Down goes Conley. All right, let's see who's coming out to close it. Looks like Dan Meyer. Going to the ninth inning. How do they stretch the lead? Well, by adding on runs. Our Prestige Audi moment brought to you by Prestige Audi, just 2 minutes south of Aventura Mall, 18667 My Audi. Today, this is how you steal a run. Bonifacio, stolen base, a throwing error, and a lackadaisical throw into second, and he's safe.
Well, we love those add-on runs.
Brett Carroll's in right. And Dan Meyer comes out and tries to close this game. Imagine what's going through Dan Meyer's mind. Here's a guy that came up as a highly touted starter, never quite caught on in the Oakland organization. Marlins gave him a chance as a middle guy, and he's flourished. And now here he is trying to close a game.
Yeah, this not only for him, obviously a save situation. This is the first opportunity he's ever had to close the game.
You talk to any pitching coach, any reliever, be it a middle guy or a short guy or a closer, and they will tell you that closing a game is completely different than pitching the 8th or pitching the 7th. There is just something about being the last guy trying to shut her down that is very different.
Something about those last 3 outs.
And for Matt Lindstrom and for other closers, sometimes it's the last out. The first 2 outs can come easily sometimes. It's getting that last guy out. Melvin Moore's got 2 hits. That's a strike. 2-2.
Nice little cutter. Looked like caught the outer part of the plate. It's been a real good pitch for Dan Meyer.
Hit hard, knocked down. Bonifacio recovers and throws and got him! Heck of a play by Bonifacio. Took one in the gut and stayed with it.
Boy, he's been a key figure in this game. This ball is shot. Look how he picks up with the bare hand. Right way to do it. And then fired one across the diamond in time to get Mora. It's a little thing, but so many times you'll see a fielder reach down with his glove. And when you have a bang-bang play like that, the way he picked it up barehanded, perfect.
First pitch swinging. Luke Scott lifts it into left. And the first 2 outs have come for Dan Meyer.
Well, not too long ago, he recorded his first ever win as a pitcher in the major leagues.
Yeah, and he marked that moment.
That was at Toronto.
And it was certainly a milepost, he said, because having come up as a prospect and then been able to get to the big leagues but not having success in Oakland, you kind of, he said at that point, sometimes you wonder. But he got that win. Now he needs another out to get a save. Holds he's got already. Those are a lot easier than this. 1-1.
One of the things, and this obviously is going to be tossed around with Freddie and Mark Wiley and the staff, but Dan Meyer generally comes in and throws strikes. And he's got numerous pitches. He has the cutter. He has a pretty good changeup along with his fastball. So he's not a one-pitch guy. And I think that was always impressive about Joe Borowski when he was here. He just kind of knew how to pitch when he went out there on the mound. He found a way.
One of the things that is intriguing about Meyer are his splits. Right-handed hitters are hitting just 155 against him, and lefties are hitting 191.
And I think another thing that makes him attractive to maybe settle in and win that closer's job. As Freddie said, there's always a silver lining to someone's injury. Somebody else can take charge.
He gets it. Ball game. Dan Meyer records his first major league save on a night where the Marlins were looking for somebody to close. They find the lefty. Meyer gets the save. Nolasco gets the win. And just like that, the Marlins are over 500, having won 4 in a row.
And how about Rich doing it with a 1-2-3 inning? Haven't seen many of those in the ninth. He just blows a fastball by Matt Wieters. It was a terrific game. We saw some extra base hits. We saw the tremendous speed of Bonifacio, more good defense, and a closer nailing one down.
Cody Ross had 2 RBI hits. You're right, Bonifacio's speed was a factor. And the Marlins in 2 hours and 42